Alright, no Sunday conversation today, but I figured I'd do something better for you guys. Put on my GoPro and walk around my shop and give you guys a shop tour of all my different workstations, how I've set up my workflow. I love watching these videos of other guys. I always like looking at the different ideas that they've got and will that improve my workflow and will I be able to work faster, better, smarter, etc. So shop's a little messy today. I have got 6 guitars I'm currently working on. I've got Kevin Bond Strat, which is what's on the workbench. I've got 6 Jack Daniels guitars that are in process. I've got a lot of bins floating around that you'll see of the different things. And the bins are lifesavers. I can throw all the parts in the bins, move them around, and I know I've got all my parts in one spot. So we'll put the GoPro on, we'll walk around. So this is as we walk down into the basement where I have most of my stuff. I've got my wall of fame here. And then you'll see my shop is in the back corner of the basement here, and I've got a significant amount of storage. That's one of the things I've sort of been trying to figure out is how to store all this stuff as I'm working on multiple guitars. So we'll start over to the left. And the way I've lined this out is this is all of my bulk wood, body blanks, tops I haven't cut into yet, and sort of general storage. Here then is some of the larger pieces of wood that I can lean against the 2 shelving units. This then is finished guitar bodies and tops that are ready to be cut into with some tools on the bottom and some of my finished projects up on top. As I pivot to the right then, I've got my sanding station and cutting station, and then I use this sort of as a layout area because it's clean and anything that I need can be moved back up onto the top. This is all of my storage then, and like I said, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I went and purchased the bins because the bins are what really keeps me organized. So if I walk into the shop, I've got my Oneida Dust Deputy and a shop vac, and I can move the hose into the different tools as I'm working on them. I've got my 10-inch Craftsman bandsaw that does all the real quick curves. I've got a jigsaw for little things I need to cut out. And then I've got 2 rigid oscillating sanders with a Delta sanding station, drill press. This is my simple router table that I made out of 4 pieces of wood, 5 pieces of wood. I screwed the router base to the bottom, drilled a hole, put a router in. Now I've got a bottom bearing bit, and I can route some of this stuff out relatively quickly. I've got just a permanent tool that didn't take all that long to build. This is where I keep all of my sanding stuff for my sanding stations. All the different grits, sleeves, then I can just pop back and forth. This was all just built 2x4s. These are all my neck blanks sitting here. This is that extra Harbor Freight toolbox that I bought. Don't use it as much. Not all the drawers are filled, but this is sort of for the camera and the workspace. I've got all of my fretting tools in here. Spoke shaves, fretting tools, Dremel tools, nuts and bolts. And then on this side, I've got some inlays, and on this side I've got all my pickup winding. I've got my wires, some spool clamps, pickup pieces, truss rods, and then pencils. This is my winding station. In here I've got all my routers that I can put away. I've got 2 basic routers I've stuck with. I've got this DW621 router. I have about 4 or 5 of them. This is the best router for me for guitar building. I did a video on it years ago, and I've just continued to acquire these in different bits. I then use a Sears Craftsman router with a base. I have a couple of these floating around. These are really great tools that are cheap. I've got some of the chemicals that I'm using and finished products here. I've got more routers on the bottom. And then this toolbox has all of my screwdrivers, clipping tools. I've got chisels, hammers, scrapers. I've tried to organize them. I've then got a lot of my finished necks and templates up here. And I usually try and leave this tool bench free so I can drop stuff on. And then I've got all of my templates underneath there. I can just sort through them. My workbenches are messy because I've got multiple things I'm working on right now. This is that custom storage station that I built in Nashville. I've got all of my screwdrivers and screws and all my little parts bins here. I've got my parts buckets then, strings, pickup wax, crystals, wire, tape. These are both the random guitar pieces, and then that's for the Jack Daniels guitars. Keep it free so I can sand here. And then I've got all my different Angelus colors and dyes up here, paints, waxes, and flow over here. And then up here I've got all my new parts bins for stuff that I know I'm going to be actively working on. This is then my main workbench. I've got all my drill bits here. This is my assembly drawer where I keep everything that I can drop in and out, just like that. Router bits then in the next two. And I've got all my marking pieces here. Saws. Saws too. Files. Painting stuff. I'm not going to go all the way down to the last. This is then my clamping station with my sharpener here. And I've got all my clamps lined up that I can just grab, move down, grab and move down. This is a custom Jack Daniels clamp that I built. Helps me glue the tops up faster. I've got my fan with a window that pulls all the fumes out. My other longer clamps are here. So that's the basement shop. I essentially take up sort of this corner of the basement with all my different stuff. And then this is how I'm filming off of the center beam with my electrical running down. So we'll take you upstairs. So when I walk out into the garage, I've got my bandsaw here, my dual drum 25-inch sander here. I've got my main toolbox for the garage here, so I can move in and out of this workspace. This is a Craftsman rolling toolbox that I recently purchased that allows me to keep a lot more stuff sort of here in center. I've got some bandsaws and extra wood floating here, and then I try and keep all of my chemicals outside in my steel cabinet. So thinners, paints, get them all outside in the garage in there. I've got my dust collector here. And as we scooch over to the back, I've got my Cyclone dust collector for my 3 different tools. I can just move the hoses. I've got my joiner, my inverted pin router, Husky air compressor, and this is just sort of a void of stuff where I can move stuff in and out. Some wood storage off here, overarm pin router here, and then this is the sanding station that you see where I've got a blower there that blows everything out to the street. And I can sweep that up and clean it up. This is a custom top that I put on where I can use all of my storage, so I can pull stuff down back and forth. And then I recently purchased this for all my sandpaper out here. So I've tried to get a little bit more organized. Like I said, I've got multiple things going in the shop, so a little bit messier these days. And it's great to have all this stuff here, up and down, up and back. So we could park a car in the garage in the winter, but then my in-laws are moving, so I decided to store some of their stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed my video of a walk around. I will be live one of these days coming up shortly and do a Q&A and sort of just show you what I've got, how I would do something. So thanks for watching. We will see you in the next video. Alright, no shop. Start over.